The ocean was a beast that night, thrashing beneath a sky split by lightning. Waves rose like black mountains, crashing against the hull of the Black Harbinger, a ship as fierce as the man who commanded it. At the helm stood Darien Stormfang, his sea-green eyes sharp against the storm. His dark hair, streaked with salt and time, whipped across his scarred face, a map of battles fought and lost. The crew scrambled, but Darien stood firm, his grip steady on the wheel. He was not afraid of the sea. He had made a deal with it long ago. Beneath the churning waters, where the storm's rage could not reach, the coral kingdom shimmered in eerie silence. Its towers of living stone twisted toward the surface, glowing with trapped starlight. Here, the mermaid Princess Seraphina drifted, her silver tail flicking nervously. Her hair, the color of storm clouds, floated around her like a veil. Her violet eyes, luminous even in the dark, scanned the waters above. Something was wrong. The sea was angry, but not at the storm. "Princess," whispered Lyria, her attendant, a mermaid with fins like molten gold. "The abyssal plague spreads faster. Our people grow weaker." Seraphina clenched her fists. The plague was a curse, rotting their kingdom from within. Her father, the king, had locked himself away, searching for answers in ancient texts. But Seraphina knew the truth. They were running out of time. Above, the Black Harbinger groaned as a wave nearly capsized it. Darien barked orders, his voice cutting through the wind. "Hold the lines. We're close." His first mate, Cale Bones Morrow, a gaunt man with hollowed cheeks and eyes that had seen too much death, staggered toward him. "Captain, the merfolk won't take kindly to us being here. This is their territory." Darien smirked. "Let them come." As if summoned, the water beneath the ship erupted. A dozen mermaids surged from the depths, their spears glinting. At their lead was Seraphina, her tail slicing through the waves like a blade. Her voice, when she spoke, was cold as the deep. "You trespass, pirate." Darien leaned over the railing, unafraid. "Princess Seraphina, I've been looking for you." She recoiled. "You know my name?" "I know more than that," he said. "I know your kingdom is dying, and I know how to save it." The crew stilled. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Seraphina's heart pounded. This man, this pirate, spoke of salvation as if it were a coin to be traded. "What do you want?" she demanded. Darien's gaze locked onto hers. "You?" The word hummed between them, heavy as an anchor. Seraphina's gills flared. "Explain." He jumped onto the railing, balancing effortlessly. "Marry me. Become my wife." The deck of the Black Harbinger creaked beneath Seraphina's bare feet as she adjusted to the strange, unsteady world of wooden planks in open air. Her legs, still new and trembling, ached with every step. The salt wind bit at her skin, so different from the gentle currents of her underwater home. She clutched the railing, her knuckles white, and glared at the pirate captain who had dragged her into this madness. Darien watched her with amusement, his sea-green eyes glinting in the lantern light. "Never been on a ship before, Princess. Never been kidnapped before," she shot back, her voice sharp as a coral edge. He laughed, the sound rough and warm like sun-washed driftwood. "You weren't kidnapped. You agreed." "I agreed to a bargain," she corrected, "not to being hauled onto this rotting pile of planks." "Good," Darien said, unfazed. "She'll need them." Seraphina's gaze flicked between them. "What does that mean?" The cabin was cramped but surprisingly orderly, maps and strange artifacts lining the walls. A large weathered table dominated the center, covered in charts marked with swirling symbols. Darien poured 2 cups of dark, spiced rum and pushed one toward Seraphina. She eyed it distrustingly. "I don't drink poison." "It's not poison," he said, taking a long sip from his own cup. "It's courage in a bottle." Reluctantly, she lifted the cup to her lips. The liquid burned, bitter and sweet all at once, and she coughed. Darien's smirk returned. "See, now we're bonding." "Get to the point," she snapped. He leaned forward, his voice dropping low. "The abyssal plague isn't natural. It's a curse, and it's not just killing your people, it's killing mine too." Seraphina frowned. "What do you mean?" He rolled up his sleeve, revealing dark, twisting veins crawling up his forearm. Every man on this ship is marked. We've been dying slowly for years, and the only thing that can break the curse is the blood of a royal mermaid. Her stomach twisted. So that's why you want me. Not just any royal, he said. You, the last daughter of the coral throne. Your blood is the key. She recoiled. You want to bleed me? No, he said sharply. I need your help. There's a relic, the Tideheart amulet, hidden on the Isle of Drowned Kings. It can channel your power and break the curse without killing you, but we have to find it before the plague consumes us all. Seraphina studied his face, searching for lies, but all she saw was exhaustion, the same exhaustion she felt every time she looked at her dying kingdom. Why should I trust you? She whispered. He met her gaze, unflinching. Because you don't have a choice. Outside, the wind howled, rattling the ship's bones. Seraphina exhaled slowly. Fine, I'll help you find this amulet. But if you betray me, I'll drag you to the deepest trench and let the Leviathans feast on your bones. Darian grinned, raising his cup. I'd expect nothing less. Just then, the door burst open. Cale stood there, his skeletal face grim. Captain, we got company. Darian and Seraphina rushed to the deck. The storm had calmed, but the sea was alive with movement, shadows circling the ship. Not fish, not merfolk. Sirens. Their golden scales glinted as they surfaced, their voices weaving into the air like silk. The melody wrapped around the crew, pulling at their minds. One sailor, his eyes glazed, staggered toward the railing. Don't listen, Undine shouted, slapping her hands over her ears. But it was too late. The song was inside them now, sweet and deadly. Seraphina felt it tugging at her, a whisper of home, of surrender. Then from the midst of the sirens, one emerged, Maricel, her beauty sharp as a knife. Her golden tail flicked lazily as she smiled at Seraphina. Little princess, what are you doing with these humans? Seraphina's blood turned cold. Maricel had been her father's advisor once, before she betrayed them and fled to the depths. This doesn't concern you, Seraphina said. Maricel's laugh was like broken glass. Oh, but it does. You see, I know why the pirate captain really wants you. Her gaze slid to Darian. He didn't tell you, did he? His curse isn't just killing his crew. It's turning them into monsters, and the only way to stop it is to drain a mermaid's life completely. Seraphina's heart stopped. She turned to Darian. Is that true? His jaw tightened. It's more complicated than that. Betrayal lanced through her. She backed away. You lied. I didn't lie, he growled. I just didn't tell you everything. Maricel's smile widened. Come home, princess, before he uses you up and throws you away. The siren's song swelled, drowning out reason. Seraphina looked at Darian, at the crew, at the ship that was not her home. Then, with a final furious glare, she turned and dove overboard. The sea swallowed her whole. Darian roared her name, but the waves gave no answer. The ocean swallowed Seraphina whole, its cold embrace pulling her deeper into the dark. Her legs burned as they fused back into her silver tail. The transformation sharp and sudden. She didn't look back. She couldn't. The sting of betrayal was too fresh, too raw. He lied. The words echoed in her skull like a war drum. Darian had needed her blood all along, not just a drop, all of it. She should have known. Humans were never to be trusted. Yet as she swam, something felt wrong. The water here was too still, too quiet. Then she saw them. Golden eyes glowed in the shadows, circling her like sharks. Maricel's sirens. Their voices may have been silent now, but their teeth were just as deadly. Little princess, Maricel cooed, slithering closer. Her tail shimmered like liquid gold, her dark hair floating around her like spilled ink. Did you really think you could escape so easily? Seraphina bared her teeth. I'm not running. I'm leaving. Maricel laughed, the sound like bubbles rising from a drowning man's lips. Oh, but you can't. Not when you're the key to everything. Her clawed fingers brushed Seraphina's cheek. Your precious pirate isn't the only one who needs your blood, you know. Seraphina jerked back. What? The abyssal plague? Maricel's smile turned vicious. I created it. And with your life force, I can control it. Bend every merfolk and human to my will. Horror coiled in Seraphina's gut. You're insane. No, Maricel whispered. I'm winning. With a flick of her tail, the sirens lunged. Above the waves, chaos ruled the Black Harbinger. Darien gripped the ship's wheel so hard the wood groaned. Turn us around. We can't, Kale shouted over the wind. The current's dragging us toward the rocks. Ondine clutched her bone charms, her tattoos glowing faintly. She's in trouble. I can feel it. Darien didn't hesitate. He grabbed a harpoon and a length of rope, tying it around his waist. Then I'm going after her. Kale grabbed his arm. You'll drown. Not if she saves me, Darien said grimly. And with that, he dove into the raging sea. Seraphina fought like a storm-given flesh. Her tail lashed, her nails raked, but the sea went still. Too still. Seraphina's gills flared as she felt it, the ancient, crushing pressure of something vast moving beneath them. The Black Harbinger creaked, its timbers groaning like a dying beast. The crew froze, their faces pale in the moonlight. Ondine's bone charms rattled against her chest. It's coming. Then, the water exploded. A monstrous shape surged from the depths, its scales blacker than midnight, its eyes burning like drowned suns. The Leviathan was not just a beast. It was a god of the deep, older than kingdoms, hungrier than the abyss. Its jaws gaped wide enough to swallow the ship whole. Brace, Darien roared. The creature's tail slammed into the hull. Wood splintered. Men screamed. Seraphina was thrown against the mast, her vision swimming. Through the chaos, she saw Darien clinging to the rigging, his harpoon raised. Fool. Brave, stupid fool. The Leviathan dove, then surged up again. This time, its target clear. Darien. Without thinking, Seraphina launched herself from the deck. She hit the water just as the beast's jaws snapped shut where Darien had been. The force of the waves sent her tumbling, her tail barely keeping her upright in the churn. Then she felt it. A pull. Not from the Leviathan, from beneath it. Something in the dark depths was calling to her, a whisper only she could hear. Seraphina. Darien's voice. He dived in after her, his body a shadow against the storm-lit surface. The Leviathan turned, sensing new prey. She had seconds to choose. Trust the pirate who lied to her, or answer the call of the deep. The Leviathan charged. Seraphina grabbed Darien's wrist and yanked him downward. Swim or die. They plunged deeper, the Leviathan's roar vibrating through their bones. The pressure mounted, crushing, unbearable. Then they broke through an unseen current, tumbling into a hidden trench. The Leviathan's cries faded above, as if it couldn't or wouldn't follow. Silence. Darien choked, bubbles escaping his lips. Seraphina cursed and dragged him toward a glimmer in the rock face, an air pocket. They broke the surface gasping, Darien coughing up seawater. What, he wheezed, was that? The Leviathan's prison, Seraphina whispered. The walls around them pulsed with bioluminescent algae, revealing carvings older than memory. Merfolk and humans, fighting side by side. A king with a crown of coral, a pirate with a blade of starlight. And between them, a broken amulet. Darien's breath caught. The Tideheart. Seraphina traced the mural. This isn't just a relic, it's a promise. Above, the Leviathan's shadow passed over the trench, reminding them some bargains could be broken, and some truths couldn't stay buried. The air pocket was shrinking. Darien pressed his palm against the slick stone wall, feeling the ancient carvings beneath his fingers. The glow of the algae pulsed like a slow heartbeat, casting eerie shadows across Seraphina's face as she studied the mural. This isn't just history, she murmured. It's a warning. The images told a story, one of betrayal. A mermaid queen and a pirate king had once loved each other. Together, they forged the Tideheart amulet, a relic powerful enough to unite sea and surface. But greed had poisoned their alliance. The pirate king shattered the amulet, cursing both their bloodlines. And the Leviathan? It wasn't just a guardian. It was the first cursed soul. Darien's throat tightened. So the plate. Is the curse returning? Seraphina finished. Her violet eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. Maricel didn't create it. She's just using it. A low rumble shook the trench. Above them, the Leviathan circled, its massive body stirring the water into froth. Time was running out. We need to find the amulet pieces, Darian said. Seraphina's tail flicked nervously. If we do, the Leviathan will follow. It's bound to the curse, just like you. He met her gaze. Then we'll face it together. She wanted to argue, to remind him of his lies, his deceit. But the air was growing stale, and the walls were closing in. She held out her hand. Swear to me this time. No more half-truths. Darian clasped her wrist, his grip firm. On my ship, on my life, I swear. A crack echoed through the trench. The ceiling splintered, water spraying through like knives. The Leviathan was breaking in. Go. Darian shoved her toward a narrow tunnel just as the rock above them shattered. They plunged into the dark, the Leviathans roared chasing them like a storm. The tunnel twisted, turning steeper, darker. Then opened into a cavern so vast it stole Seraphina's breath. The chamber of the drowned kings. Piles of gold and wrecked ships littered the floor, but at the center stood an altar, and on it, gleaming despite centuries of neglect, was half of the Tideheart amulet. Darian moved toward it, but Seraphina grabbed his arm. Wait. The water here was too still, too wrong. Then she saw them. Bones, hundreds of them, scattered around the altar. Not just human, not just merfolk. Those who had come before. A shadow detached itself from the wall. No, not a shadow, a figure. Tattered robes, skeletal hands, eyes like drowned stars. The keeper of the Tideheart. You seek what was broken, it rasped, its voice the sound of waves dragging the corpse into the deep. But can you pay the price? Darian stepped forward. Name it. The keeper's gaze locked onto Seraphina. A memory, the one you hold dearest. Her breath hitched. Memories were the foundation of a mermaid's magic. To lose one was to lose a piece of oneself. Darian shook his head. Take mine instead. The keeper laughed, a sound like cracking ice. You have nothing left to give, pirate. Your soul is already pledged. Seraphina straightened. Which memory? The first time you heard the ocean sing. Her childhood, the moment she knew she was destined to rule, the very core of who she was. The Leviathan's roar shook the chamber. They were out of time. Seraphina closed her eyes. Take it. The keeper's bony fingers pressed against her forehead. The world went white. When she'd opened her eyes, she was kneeling, gasping. The amulet piece lay in her hands, warm as a living heart. But something was missing. She couldn't remember what, but she knew it had been precious. Darian helped her up, his face unreadable. We need to go. Above them, the cavern trembled. The Leviathan had found them. As they fled, Seraphina clutched the amulet piece, the keeper's final words echoing in her skull. One half mends, the other breaks. The water burned as they fled the cavern, the Leviathan's wrath churning the sea into a whirlpool of teeth and rage. Seraphina clutched the Tideheart fragment against her chest, its edges biting into her palm. Something vital was missing, a hollow space in her mind where a memory should be. Darian's hand locked around her wrist, pulling her through the chaos. His lips moved, shouting words she couldn't hear over the roaring blood in her ears. The amulet pulsed, its rhythm sensing with her frantic heartbeat. Then light. They burst onto the surface near jagged rocks, gasping as the black harbinger materialized through the storm's veil. Ropes slapped against the waves as the crew hauled them aboard. Undine's tattooed hands grabbed Seraphina first, her bone charms clattering like anxious teeth. You're alive, the sea witch breathed. Then her eyes dropped to the amulet piece. Oh, no. Kale staggered over, his hollow face grim. Where's the other half? Darian coughed salt water onto the deck. Not here. The ship lurched. The Leviathan's spined back breached nearby, its scales glistening with cursed energy. It wasn't attacking. Not yet. It was waiting. Seraphina's gills flared. It wants the fragment. Then we give it nothing, Darian snarled, drawing his cutlass. The blade's edge glowed faintly blue, a charm from Undine. forged in desperate times. Ondine touched Seraphina's temple, her fingers icy. What did the keeper take from you? I don't. Seraphina's protest died as a wave of dizziness hit. Phantom music teased her senses, a melody just beyond reach. The ocean song, her song, the one she'd heard as a child, the one that had named her heir to the coral throne. Gone. Maricel's laughter slithered through the storm. The golden siren perched atop the mainmast, her tail coiled around the wood. Poor little princess, she crooned. You don't even remember why you're fighting, do you? Darien moved first, his harpoon singing through the air. Maricel dodged, her smirk widening as she lifted something that made Seraphina's pulse stutter, a second amulet fragment, its edges jagged with purpose. You want this? Maricel dangled the relic like bait. Come and take it. She plunged into the waves. The Leviathan moved. Seraphina didn't think, she dove. The water embraced her like a forgotten lover, cold and familiar. Maricel's golden tail flickered ahead, leading her deeper, toward the ruins of a sunken temple, the very place the original Tideheart had been shattered. Darien's voice echoed strangely through the depths as he followed. Seraphina, stop. It's a trap. She knew, of course she knew. But the amulet in her hand was singing now, a mournful tune that made her bones ache. The closer they swam to the ruins, the more the hollow space in her mind hurt. Maricel stopped at the temple's broken altar. Here, she whispered, pressing her palm against the stone. This is where your ancestor begged for mercy before the pirate king slit her throat. Seraphina's vision swam with phantom images, a mermaid queen bleeding onto coral, a human man weeping as he raised his blade. No, Darien growled, surfacing beside her. That's not how it happened. Maricel's grin turned vicious. Ask your precious pirate whose ancestor really started the curse. The Leviathan descended upon them, its maw gaping. And Seraphina remembered, not the stolen memory, but another, older. Her mother's voice. The Tideheart doesn't break curses, it breaks bonds. Seraphina looked at Darien, at the glowing veins of his curse, at the way the amulet fragments pulsed when they were near each other. Maricel wasn't trying to rebuild the Tideheart. She was trying to shatter it completely. Darien, Seraphina breathed. We have tow. The Leviathan struck. Water crushed them. Stone shattered. The amulet fragments glowed blinding white. And in the chaos, Seraphina made her choice. She grabbed Darien's hand and sang. Seraphina's voice tore through the water like a blade through silk. The moment her song touched the Tideheart fragments, the ocean screamed. Light exploded outward in a shockwave, throwing Maricel back against the ruins. The Leviathan recoiled, its massive body twisting in agony as the amulet pieces pulsed like twin hearts in Seraphina and Darien's hands. Something was happening. Something terrible. Darien's veins burned as the curse inside him writhed, reacting to the song. His vision blurred. Suddenly he was seeing double, himself here now, and another man centuries past, standing on these same stones with blood on his hands. No, Maricel shrieked, clawing toward them. You'll destroy everything. Seraphina didn't stop singing. The notes weren't pretty. They were raw, broken. The song of a mermaid who'd had her first memory stolen, of a pirate who'd been lied to about his own blood. It wasn't magic meant to heal or unite. It was a song of reckoning. The Tideheart fragments shattered. For one heartbeat, the world went utterly still. Then, the Leviathan unraveled. Its massive form dissolved into swirling shadows that solidified into human shapes. Dozens of them. Ghosts of the first cursed. Merfolk and pirates, their translucent forms frozen in eternal battle. Maricel gaped. What have you done? Seraphina's voice was hoarse. The truth. Among the ghosts stood two figures clearer than the rest, the mermaid queen and pirate king from the murals. Not enemies, lovers. Their hands clasped around the intact Tideheart, their faces twisted in sorrow. The pirate king's ghost spoke, his voice echoing with centuries of regret. We didn't break our promise. We were murdered for it. Maricel's golden scales dulled. Liars. The mermaid queen's ghost turned. Sister, you always were a jealous creature. Realization hit Serafina like a riptide. Maricel wasn't just some siren. She was family. The traitor who'd orchestrated the original massacre and twisted history to blame the humans. Darian staggered to his feet, his curse marks fading. The plague was never the Tideheart's curse, the Pirate King said. It was hers, and now it's broken. Maricel howled and launched herself at the ghosts, only to pass right through them. The moment she touched the spectral Tideheart, her golden scales turned black. No, she clawed at her own skin as the darkness spread. This isn't, I didn't. The ghost watched, unmoving, as Maricel's body petrified into onyx coral. Her final scream echoed, then silenced. The Leviathan's ghosts began fading, their forms at peace. The Mermaid Queen pressed a translucent hand to Serafina's cheek. Rebuild what was stolen, daughter of the tides. Then they were gone. The ocean settled. Silence. Darian collapsed to his knees beside Serafina, his breathing ragged. So, we just broke the one thing that could have fixed everything. Serafina looked at the crumbled Tideheart dust in her palm. Then slowly she smiled. No, we broke the lie that broke everything else. Above them, sunlight pierced the waves for the first time in centuries. The Black Harbinger floated on calm waters for the first time in years. No storms, no curses, just the quiet lap of waves against the hull as the crew moved about, their faces lighter without the shadow of death hanging over them. Ondine leaned against the railing, her bone charms silent. It's done then. Darian ran a hand through his salt-crusted hair, watching the horizon. Not quite. Below the surface, Serafina hovered near the ship, her silver tail flicking gently to keep her in place. The Coral Kingdom was healing. She could feel it in the water, in the way the fish returned and the currents flowed clean again. But something tugged at her chest, sharp as an anchor's hook. She broke the surface, her storm-gray hair clinging to her shoulders. You're leaving. It wasn't a question. Darian's sea-green eyes met hers. My crew has homes to return to, families they haven't seen in years. The words hung between them, heavy with what went unsaid. And you have a kingdom to rule. Serafina's gills flared. She wanted to say so much. How the ocean felt emptier knowing he wouldn't be sailing above her. How her fingers still remembered the warmth of his hand when they faced the Leviathan together. But princesses didn't beg, and pirates didn't stay. Then go, she said, her voice steady despite the ache in her throat. A splash made them both turn. Ondine had thrown something overboard, a small wooden box that floated between them. You're both idiots, the sea witch called before walking away. Darian fished it out, flipping the lid open. Inside lay 2 rings fashioned from Leviathan bone and abalone shell, gleaming in the sunlight. Serafina's breath caught. Those are binding rings. Darian finished, his thumb brushing over the carvings. Waves on one, a ship on the other. For merfolk weddings. How did Ondine? I may have asked, Darian admitted, his usual smirk softening into something rarer, something true. Before all this, back when I still thought I just needed your blood. The admission hung between them, fragile as sea foam. Serafina reached out, tracing the wave-carved ring. You know what this means, don't you? If we do this, I become part sea. You become part surface. Darian lifted his gaze to hers. Neither fully one nor the other. Always caught between, she whispered. Always choosing, he corrected. The tide pulled at them, patient and endless. Serafina took the ship-carved ring. You'll grow gills. Darian grinned. I'll look dashing with scales. She laughed then, the sound bright as sunlight on waves. You'll look ridiculous. But I'll be yours. His hand found hers beneath the water, their fingers intertwining. If you'll have me. The ocean held its breath. Serafina slid the ring onto his finger. Try to leave now, pirate, and I'll drag you back myself. Darian's lips met hers as the magic took hold, his skin shimmering with temporary scales, her legs forming just long enough to pull him into the water with her. The crew's cheers echoed across the waves as they disappeared beneath the surface. Ondine nodded in satisfaction, tossing the last of the bone charms overboard. About time. And far below, where the sunlight danced through blue depths, Two figures swam, one with a silver tail, one with newfound gills, their laughter bubbling upward like promises. The tides would turn. Storms would come. But this was forever. Epilogue. 1 year later, the Black Harbinger sailed into Coral Kingdom waters, its hull painted with glowing merfolk symbols. On the deck, Darien adjusted his new emerald coat, a gift from his wife, as Kale groaned beside him. "We're late." Again. Fashionably, Darien corrected, grinning as a familiar silver tail breached nearby. Seraphina surfaced, her hair braided with pirate's gold, her smile brighter than the sun on waves. "Ready to come home, husband?" Darien didn't hesitate. He dove. The sea welcomed them both.